Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host Matt, along with your other host.
Drift compatible Tristan Walter.
Yeah, right? We're just, we talk over each other so much on these podcasts throughout the years that I think we've actually drifted at some point or another.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, so here we are talking about Pacific Rim, the first one, because that needs to be said now. And that's a good thing, by the way, but that needs to be said now. So we're talking about the first Pacific Rim on this episode of Friday Night Movies. And honestly, Tristan, you and I have been jumping all over the place recently. Very eclectic with our tastes. Because we went from, let me think. We were doing, quote-unquote, giant monster in the form of Cloverfield. Then we transitioned, because before that we were doing Japanese ghosts. Then we transitioned into, Cloverfield monsters. Then we slowly jump into FMA, Full Metal Alchemist live action, for a week. So we go to Sorcerers, right? And then we go back to dinosaurs before transitioning back into, now mecha has been thrown into the fray. We're just,
yes,
like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? What was
everything. That? We're doing everything.
What?
It's a very comprehensive list.
Oh, it is a very comprehensive list, yes. Like I said, we're talking over each other. We clearly drifted. No, we're doing everything. I feel like, what have we left out? Honestly, like maybe just some more drama stuff, but even then, some of these films do have very dramatic elements to them. But it's just so funny though, because I feel like I'm thinking, like, what have we not done recently? Right? We just jumped. I mean, it's all nerd stuff, but it's just all these different kinds of giant this, giant that, small little ghost girls. What are we doing, Tristan? But so yeah, who do you think would win in a fight? A Jaeger or the girl from The Ring? Who do you think? Well, just, if they saw the tape, I don't know, man. Someone just accidentally drifts with the girl from The Ring.
Oh God, I don't want to even think of the horrifying complications or ramifications that would ensue. Jesus. It was bad enough just drifting with the brain of the kaiju.
Yes. Jesus, it would be that would be the new way that it would be the new transition. It's like, fuck streaming. I'm just drifting in their minds to kill them now. But anyway, so this movie, when I first saw it, I think I wasn't super duper ecstatic about it. Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, the best thing ever. I was kind of in the, yeah, that was the first time I saw it years ago. I'm talking about in 2013.
Right. Now,
I'm more impressed with it, but I'm also a bit more critical maybe in other ways, but I'm also a lot more impressed with it, I think, because I think we have to put it in a certain place, in a certain category that I don't know if people were doing at the time, and really have to understand that even though it's a giant monster film, it technically is a film that's sort of the first of its kind, at least for U.S. audiences.
Right.
Like, we have to be, like, I know, obviously, like, but Matt, Godzilla has existed for years, and King Kong, and, Jurassic Parks, and all these other movies, but nothing is quite like seeing your first mecha.
Right, yeah.
Right? And having that in a live-action format, even Japanese movies and live-action, Japanese TV shows, they've done mecha, but they've done it in a very Power Rangers-esque way, which is obviously, in my opinion, a lot different than what Pacific Rim was trying to bring to the table. Like, when I think of Pacific Rim, I think more of live-action anime than than a Power Rangers quote-unquote rip-off. That right. I don't know if I really heard people say that, though I think some may have made some jokes. But I don't think of this as, Merkin Power Rangers.
Right.
because I know there's more than one person piloting the mecha, but just the way that it's done, because with Power Rangers, usually, sometimes they were different, but usually Power Rangers is, I'm going to sit in front of buttons that don't actually exist, but the camera angle makes it seem like they exist, and I'm going to push them, and when I do, the arm go like this, or the foot go like that. Here, it was very much like G Gundam. I think you've seen G Gundam, right, Tristan? Where they're like,
I've
he's like,
seen bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Gundam.
I saw a lot. I saw about maybe half or more than half of the series when it aired on Toonami as a kid, because it basically aired. I don't know if it aired before DBZ, but it aired somewhere in that area, and I fell in love with it when I was a kid. I need to get them again, like on DVD or something like that. But anyway. So I saw G Gundam as a kid, and basically the way he melds with the Gundam, and they all do, and they're also, by the way, each pilot is from a different part of the world.
Right.
So you'll have one pilot from Japan, one from America, one from China. I assume they had one from Africa as well. So you have one from Russia. So you had different mecha pilots from different parts of the world, and they basically, had their own mech. And they fought against people, even if they didn't come into their own territory. But that would be one thing that would initiate a fight. Here, obviously, very different. Instead of fighting each other, they went to fight the giant monsters, i.e. kaiju. Very interesting that they kept it as kaiju. So here's the thing, right? So I love, obviously, that you can tell that Guillermo del Toro and, of course, the writer of this film do love the, stuff like, Godzilla films. I see some Ultraman stuff in here as well. So clearly there's, Gamera, Rodan, all these, giant monsters. They're clearly in love with them. However, funnily enough, I don't know because I know you saw the special features. I don't know if Del Toro mentioned this on the special features, but I was reading an interview where he talked about the fact that he didn't want them to look at those movies as like a way to copy any of the designs or any plot elements.
Yeah, he did. They did have parts where he mentioned stuff about that, designing the kaiju and designing the Jaegers. Yeah, he didn't want it to be like a reference to anything. He wanted it to be all of its own. Honestly, still a part of the genre, but not being like, oh, that kind of looks like the thing from this, or that monster reminds me of this one from that, that series or anything like that.
Yes.
And, I think they pulled that off handsomely.
I do too. I think the only thing that I got from it, and that's just because of how movies make, darker skin tones for their CGI, reminded me of Cloverfield a bit. Also the long arms too, because I kind of have to have long arms until you make them stand upright, and then it becomes a completely different scenario. But when they're usually crawling, you make long arms. So it did give me some Cloverfield vibes. Earlier monsters in Pacific Rim gave me Cloverfield vibes. I think one of the things that was a little sad, I guess, during the movie, and I think, and I heard, and this is just what I heard, this is kind of why it didn't do as well in Japan as some people may have initially thought. It didn't feel like we got to know the monsters. Like, I love when a Godzilla movie focuses on the human element. But there's a reason why, not just through repetition, but there's a reason why we know who Godzilla is, who Rodan is, who Mothra is. We had movies kind of explaining who they were. And I'm not saying we needed movies to explain every single kaiju. Again, they're painted much differently. But that's the thing, I think, with Godzilla, where you feel like with the monsters in Godzilla, all the different ones, including Godzilla, depending on the movie even with Godzilla, his motivations are different. And they are as well. So it feels like they have characters of their own, where here, different classifications or different monster names were mentioned throughout the movie, but because of how quickly the monsters were dispatched, I don't remember them. And unless you're a Pacific Rim fan who wants to collect the figures, which look beautiful, you're not really going to know the names of the different monsters. If you just hear it for a second, then they slice it in half, and it's like, we did it.
Right.
So I think, and it's funny because from what I've heard, that's why in Japan it didn't do as well. Because when you have giant monsters in Japan, kaiju, you know, hey, this one is doing this for this reason. Where here, even before they made them clones, they felt mindless. And then when you revealed, oh, they're clones that are just programmed, then you really took away any agency from them. So I think, but again, like, I don't know what you would do, because I'm not saying that they should, like, have, like, one that they work with, like, we're calling this one Blue. Like, I'm not saying they should do that.
Right, yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying that. But it does kind of, I guess, take away from something when usually the genre, that's why I feel weird calling this, like, like well, actually it's funny. In a weird way, you can compare this to Power Rangers in that sense, where they're giant monsters, they're just monsters of the week that become giant, so they're not really looked at as, like, oh, wait a minute, that one appears in this episode too, because it's just the one monster. Like, if Pacific Rim was a TV show, arguably it would be more like Power Rangers, in theory.
Yeah.
Right? I just disagree with that notion because obviously with Power Rangers, they fight on the ground. It's more so there's big bads that they, know that they have to fight against. Here it felt very much like, oh, there's some aliens that want to terraform the planet. Oh, God, what are we going to do about them? What do you mean them? Well, the aliens we just mentioned. What aliens? Fuck it, just the blow up the thing. I know there's not much you can really do about them, but, like, they exist too. We should, like, you just mentioned there's an entire alien race. It's just like, yeah, let's fucking destroy the place, or let's destroy the people on the place, and, like, we just care more about the monsters. Because obviously, yes, the monsters are destroying you, like, in the front line, like they're the invading army. But it's just kind of like, there are people pulling the strings that we should be worried about, or just set off the nuke. Oh, we're going to set off the nuke. Cool.
I mean, at that point, their main objective is to just stop the monsters from getting through. And it's like...
Their main
their main
objective is living.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to live to see tomorrow.
Well, that's interesting, because we're going to die today. So let's make sure to close this bridge. But anyway,
Matt, we're canceling the apocalypse. Come on. I love that.
Okay. I don't, but I love it coming out of Idris Elba's mouth with that kind of enthusiasm.
Yes.
Yes. That's the thing. One of the best things about this movie is I feel like a lot of the actors, especially looking at literally just looking at Idris Elba and just being like, hi, you deserve to be the highest paid actor in Hollywood right now. Because he can take something that, well, no, because nothing against, like, Mark Wahlberg, but he's no Idris Elba.
Right.
Like, Idris Elba is just amazing at what he does. And I just feel like he can take a line like that, which, again, in some situations you're like, yeah, but other situations are just like, we're canceling the apocalypse. But you hear it come from Idris. It's not even just the accent; it's just the passion, and also the way he sets up his character and everything. It's just the way he walks as a soldier. Like, it's just so invigorating. You're like, fuck yeah, we're canceling that apocalypse.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, there's a reason that he became the leader of this whole organization.
Because, like, even though I think he might have been one of the weaker actors, putting that aside, I feel like if the main character, if he was just like, we're canceling the apocalypse, it'd be like, shut up. He's not bad. It's just something about, like, even just, again, the character, too. It's just like, no, Idris is going to say it.
Right.
But it's funny how he got the war cry, where it's like you have the main character. It's just like, hi, he's just existing over here. I feel like, so here's something interesting, too. I don't know if Del Toro mentioned this in the special features, but apparently there was a lot of hours of footage that were cut to make it 2 hours.
Right. I heard that after. I think I heard that after I saw the movie the first time back in 2013. And for everybody in the audience, I finally got to see this again on Blu-ray now, so because I can do that now. So this has been a very good day for me.
A mutual friend of ours, instead of going through the hassle of trying to sell something on the internet, was like, I love you, Tristan, And also, I love you, Anthony, referring to Anthony Toto. And he basically gifted you a PlayStation 4, which I think means that you have to marry him now if you're both not married by 40.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. I think you're just I feel like it's just what you have to do. And so now that you have that, you somehow have a TV that has HDMI in the back, so that's, if you didn't, you couldn't play your NES Classic or your Super NES Classic. That'd be funny. You'd be like, Matt, how do I put this with AV? I'm like, you should have fucking bought the original. Fuck. But no, yeah. So you have the TV, even though it's a bit, even though it's a smaller TV, still it can play, it can play it in Blu-ray, and I'm sure it looked beautiful.
It was.
Yep. That's the one thing I have to note too. The CGI was not bad at all.
Yes.
Like there was never a moment that I was like, that's weird.
Okay, good. Because that's what I was worried about. Because most of the times I see things on DVD, and it's like I don't know. For me, a lot of times I've seen things on Blu-ray. It really feels like it brings out the CG a lot in a lot of scenes.
In a bad way?
And I was worried. Yeah, and I was worried about that here. But I watched it. I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. This looks beautiful. This is exactly how I remember it.
It's because they made sure to make every scene darker, either because it's raining, or we're in this is a night scene, or we're by the water, it's stormy.
Right.
So they really tried to make sure that it could blend.
Right, exactly. And they basically anywhere that they could be practical, they did.
Where were they practical?
So a lot of the alleyway scene in Mako's memory, that's a whole set. The inside of the Jaeger heads were sets they built. The baby kaiju, when that bursts out and they're in Hong Kong on the streets, a lot of that stuff is all they were built sets. Obviously when you see the bigger panning shots when they're either in a city or they're out in the ocean, that's all CG. Even in the beginning, the opening scene, they did it. They did that one. That one was on site, but they had a slight green screen for the robot, obviously, for the Jaeger in the background when it's crashed. But they had, not all of it. They had at least half of it built, the head and maybe the hand, but then the body itself was CG'd in, and then they had a small green screen just to get the weather. So a lot of it is actually practical effects. And it really blends really well with the CG that they have to put in.
Yes. So I laughed when you said the beginning, because the first shot that I remember is the San Fran Bridge. And I'm like, I don't think they destroyed the bridge, Tristan.
Oh, my God. No.
I'm pretty sure they did not destroy the bridge. I know, the ice.
When Beckett walks out of Gypsy Danger after the fight with Hammerhead, when he falls out onto the beach. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so what I wanted to mention was earlier on I was saying how, the 2 hours of footage that were cut. The reason why I'm getting on, that sucks, is because apparently there was a lot of backstory for people that I think that it really would have propelled this movie and made me defend it as much as you will during the podcast. I would have been right on your side. I've been like, yeah, world, what do you mean? This movie, the best. So, I would be on your side. I'd be, right next to you. But I can't be that – this is our Civil War. I can't be that close to you on this only because of how many characters stuff was – now, granted, we got Mako's backstory brilliantly in there, by the way. That was a perfect way to introduce it without seeming like we were just randomly jumping to it. So that was excellent. We didn't need the majors – or not the major – what was his actual Marshall? Was that his actual?
Oh no, Stacker.
That was his.
Yeah, no,
but what was his actual
name?
his? No, Adam. I know his name, but I'm not talking about his name. I'm talking about his actual
Yeah, Marshall.
It wasn't. Marshall. Yeah. So the reason, we didn't get his, which was perfect, because he's like, you don't need to know shit about me, and I was like, I mean. I would hope now that we seemingly are getting someone connected to him in the second movie, it would be nice to actually get more about his backstory that way. But, like, we didn't need to know that much about him, to be fair, because, yeah, it was mostly like, hey, look, you know, you don't need to know about me. I'm technically not the one who's supposed to be.
Best way. Yeah, that was probably the best way I've ever seen a character deliver that, to be like, you know, it's like, you may think you need a huge backstory about me, but you don't, and here's why. Like, that bit of dialogue just felt beautiful to me.
Yeah, it's the main character that I'm kind of like, all right, I know we got those flashes, which is nice, but, like, I'm just kind of, like, I don't know. Or also, even the other guy, too, the Australian guy that we're supposed to be like, oh, it's him and his dad. And he's supposed to have felt like, oh, see, he turned over a new leaf because he died for everyone. And I was like, wait, was he not going to before? Like, that's his mission always. Like, I felt worse for his dad and the dog than I did him. And I'm sure that's because stuff was left on the cutting room floor that probably, if it made its way in there, I'd be like, oh, no, his mom died when he was that young, you know, or something like that. Or, like, I'm sure there's something that was left on the cutting room floor where it's like, wait a minute, he saw his mom get eaten alive. Oh, wait a minute. No, I think this is, am I looking at the Attack on Titan script we did? Or, but seriously, though, I do feel like if there was something that could have been put in there like that, even just left, I don't know how, like just a small narration, I don't know what it could have been. Seeing when their minds melted real quick, because it felt like there's a reason why I should have cared. Like, there's certain motivations as the movie went on that I felt like I should have cared about more, and now that I was reading up while watching the movie, so I knew that there was stuff cut, and I said, maybe it was just cut. It's part of the, you know, what would have been a too long, but still a 4-hour cut of the movie or something like that, or a 3-hour cut, that because it was cut down, now I don't know why I should care. Because, again, the movie was filmed in a way where it's like, no, you're going to care about this kid by the end. He's not just going to be some shitty hotshot. By the end, it's just like, all right, so he sacrificed himself for the greater good. Yes, but so did the Russians. Why? And they weren't dicks. So...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it just felt like, I mean, they all went out during yes, they all went out during a fight, but this one was basically, we're dropping in the payload. There's basically no, if any, guarantee that we're coming out of this one alive. And the fact that's the character that does it, I feel is supposed to be the kind of, like, oh, really? He's the one who's going to go ahead with this one. He's the one who even, you know, he says to Beckett, he's like, look, you know, I like my life. You know, I want to come back from this fight. You're the, you know, loose cannon in this that might fuck everything up for the rest of us. And yet he's the one who does the, you know, going out in a blaze of glory for the good of everybody else.
Right, but throughout the movie, he never seemed like a coward. He always seemed like a cocky hotshot.
Yeah.
Like throughout the movie, he didn't seem like oh, I want to, like, he never seemed in the movie like, I don't want to do this because, you know, all I care about is me, and frankly, if I ever had to, I'd run away because I want to live. Like, he never came off like that to then be like, but here's his time to shine.
Yeah, no,
like,
it always felt like it was coming from a place of, like, I want the glory, you know, I want the recognition and the glory for me, and I want to be able to come back to bathe in that.
Yeah, fair. I'll give you that. That's fair. It's just like it didn't feel like he wouldn't do his mission. So and obviously this is a redeeming moment. I'm not saying it's not, but it just, I think there's something else that was supposed to be in there that would make me feel like I do care about you, rather than just being like, oh, that dog really liked him, and I really liked that dog.
Which you did.
That's just my whole. Oh, no, it was such a cute dog. It was awesome, and, like, he fed it really well, so I'm sure the dog was like, now I really like you. But I'm sure if someone melded with that dog, it'd be like, what do you think of him? It'd be like, he feeds me, but he's a dick. Or someone, not melded, if someone drifted with the dog, I feel like he'd be like, you know, I like him, but my God, he's a dick.
Who else is going to be my pilot? My dad's arm is broken. Well, there's the dog. Did you see the dog, like, suited up? Barf.
The dog's just, like, with an Australian accent, just, I forgot how tight this used to be. When did he ever? Don't ask. It's been a long 5 years.
Oh my
Just
God.
just the little tiny dog Jaegers.
I mean, they had to start the program somehow, right?
Well, yeah, apparently they went right to human testing. It's just like, my God, you're
Well,
serious.
at that
when
point,
you don't shit on animals first, you know they're serious.
oh my God.
I mean, people have been assholes to animals with testing over the years. The fact that they went
Yes, of
straight to
course.
humans, oh shit.
Yeah. I mean, in
Yeah.
this case,
Also,
I guess
yeah.
it was, well, we either do this or we die immediately, so.
Also, yes, of course, they had to do it immediately, which is why it's so funny how fast it was done. Like, literally, it felt like
Right.
it was just done, even though obviously there was a cut that told you how long it took. But it really did feel like just everyone, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, giant monster. What was that? I don't remember. You're my best friend.
Yeah,
And immediately
like
every country.
you said, just basically puts aside their differences and said, look, we need to work on these giant robots if we're going to fight these things, and if we don't, we're all going down. Doesn't matter who we are.
I just think it's funny though. Like one moment they're all arguing over like trade tariffs. The next day they're just like, giant robots, the biggest giant robots we can fucking pay for.
I mean, when aliens that size come out of your own ocean and start terrorizing your cities, it's kind of a big incentive to.
But I just love
together.
it though. Like I wonder which country was the first to be like, all right, I don't know if anyone here is going to say it, but we're going to be the first giant fucking robot. Who's with me here? Japan?
I mean,
Japan? Don't you look at me like that, Japan. Come on.
I was about to say it.
Look at me here, Japan. You giant robots? Come on. Come on. You can send us the blueprints via your manga.
Look, oh, my God. Either that or Japan was like, look, I know this sounds crazy, but what we're dealing with is completely crazy. What if?
Right. But, I don't know which country would. I don't think it would be Japan because they'd be like, they're all going to think we're going to say it, so we're not going to say it.
Right.
Fuck all of you. We're not going to say this shit. It's like one American. All right, guys. What if they were giant? But I don't know. Like, I don't know who would be the first to bring it up. And the fact that they all just agreed, they're just like, well, I mean, what else can we do, I guess?
Yeah,
Which
I mean,
is true,
the first one that, Beckett narrates in the beginning when, you see the Golden Gate Bridge get attacked, it's like it took, tanks and jets and everything the U.S. military had, and it was like 6 days later, something like that they finally stopped it with conventional means. So it's like,
let's not do this. If it's just one, and this is how long it took, we got to do something else.
that was just one, right.
And it was technically the smallest one they could throw, the aliens or whoever could throw at them, because that was the first wave.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, but yeah, and what's the funniest thing? I say funny in a sad way, just when it's just like, oh, why are you sick? So when they first made them, for some odd reason, despite the fact that we were in 2016, or I think 2015, whatever year they made it, they're like, despite how technologically advanced we were, for some odd reason, they forgot to put in radiation shields. And I'm like,
honestly, it makes sense. It was they had to get something up and fighting in a very short amount of time, so they probably cut so many corners.
Okay, so you don't think it's like, oh, we didn't know. It's more so like, no. We know. Look, we know you're sending you to your death. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's fair. Sickening, but it's still something I expect.
Right.
I expect people who are cutting corners to do.
I think it was the idea that the maybe they were like, it shouldn't affect you so adversely, but probably down the line.
I bet you they imagined, look, either the monster's going to kill you or our machine will.
Eventually. But it's like, look, the machine will eventually kill you. The monsters will kill us now. So the marshal was probably like, yeah, sign me up. I'm doing it.
Fuck it, yeah. But Yeah, so that, I mean, again, though, I wouldn't put it past them. One thing I want to mention, though, the terrible thing, when I first heard the name Gypsy Danger or Gypsy Danger, I thought I could swear to God I heard Pepsi, and I was like, during the fucking apocalypse, really? Product placement?
Today, program
we cancel.
by Pepsi.
Today, we canceled the apocalypse and our thirst with Pepsi.
Oh, he just
Pepsi.
holds a can and
The
smiles
official-
at the camera. There,
Pepsi.
did I get it right?
The official
Now, where's the $1 million
sponsor
you promised us?
of the apocalypse.
Oh, my God.
It feels like when we saw like random
God.
when we saw like random companies in the first Cloverfield movie, where it made sense
Right.
because they were supposed to be in New York, but it was kind of like, do you really want to be sponsoring a movie during the apocalypse? I don't know.
Right, yeah. Oh, my God.
But yeah, so it's not Pepsi Danger or Danger, it's Gypsy, which is still weird. I don't know like what the names meant. I know it's so funny that Yeager was in here though, and you know Eren Yeager is the name of the main character in Attack on Titan.
I get it, but no, I'm just. How many times have you referenced Attack on Titan while texting me while watching this movie? I know we just talked about it on the cast, but god damn it.
Okay. Let me explain to you why you're an ass right now.
Okay.
You do it to me when I say it on the air. But I've been texting you about it, and literally, it'd be like if I was like, isn't it so interesting that the main character is Son Goku? You're like, Matt, please stop it with these Dragon Ball Z references. And I'm like, his name is Son Goku in freaking, Pacific Rim. And you're like, Matt, you have to stop it with these references. The other one's named Vegeta. Whatever, Matt. You're too much into these references.
No, well,
I want to shake you right now.
Because
the
Dragon
name,
Ball is something
they're
we've
called
both done for
Jaegers.
years. I know.
So how many times have you heard the word Jaeger in your life? I've heard it twice. I've never needed to hear the term Jaeger before. I'm not saying this is based off of Attack on Titan. I'm just saying I've never heard the name Jaeger before. It's not like they were called John. And I'd be like, wait a minute. Jean is an Attack on Titan. I'd be like, yeah, dude. And in every French novel. What the fuck are you?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Matt? It's just Jean. But, like, literally, they're called Jaegers. And Eren's last name
robot.
is Jaeger. Apparently. And also Attack on Titan, very Germanic. Clearly, like, based on a Germanic town. But seriously, though, all jokes aside about Attack on Titan references, I wasn't even kidding, and that's why I was also mad, too, because I'm like, I'm not even joking with you. Attack on Titan came out in, like, 2009, and this movie came out in 2013.
Right. I mean, Del Toro does talk about, granted, I don't know if he's seen Attack on Titan, but, like, he's a pretty big anime fan, it seemed like, too. But it was more like the mecha genre, obviously.
Well, no. Clearly, this is based off of, like, 70s, 80s, 90s mech. Clearly. Right?
Yeah.
That's why I go for, even though obviously I've talked, earlier on, we were like, oh, yeah, giant monsters, duh. But obviously the mech plays such a huge part. That's something that's really hasn't really been done, in U.S. movies. So I get that. The only reason why I bring up Attack on Titan so much, and his was really funny, apparently he wanted to base I forgot whose artwork it was. It was an older painting for the Jaegers. And you want to know what the painting was called? And I'm not even kidding. I swear to God.
What?
The Colossal.
Well.
Yes. And I looked at the painting and I'm just like, apparently fucking the creator of Attack on Titan must have fucking looked at that picture too. Because it legit looked like a Titan. And I laughed really hard.
Yeah.
But my point is just that, like, I would imagine. By the way, the anime for Attack on Titan came out in 2013. So I'm not saying he watched the anime and then looked at this and made the movie. That would be impossible unless time travel. Which do you, Del Toro? Come on the podcast and say that you don't. Okay, you too then. You too, right?
Yeah.
He's too revolutionary to not be a time traveler. Let's just put that out there. His movie, Shape of Water, got 2 Oscar nominations. He won 2 Oscars for it.
Right.
Best Director and Best Picture. Time traveler. I mean, it's just that fucking simple. Anyway, it's just that simple. Right? We can say that legally, right? We're not, like, disparaging him at all, right?
No.
Are we? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think we're good there, legally. Let's talk to the legal department, which is like me in a suit. Let's talk to the legal department.
Matt, did we break any laws, Matt? No, Matt, you're good, Matt. All right, Matt. Thanks, Matt.
All right.
Back to
See you
Matt.
later. Not at the office, Matt. Just me in a different color suit. What's going on? Nothing, HR, Matt.
Oh, my God. It's just, I'm just standing outside the door like, so how'd it go? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, right.
Why do you
Sexy as
never
usual.
let me go in? It's like, why do you never let me go in the door with you, Matt? You don't need to ask that question, Tristan.
Matt, is there something I should know? First of all, don't touch me.
Oh,
Second
oh, don't touch me. Oh, my God.
So one thing I have to say about this movie, its comedy was beautifully placed. It was placed in the best parts, and I loved it so much. Just the comedy just fucking was amazing. Not even just the, obviously, the two, the scientist, mathematician, or the groupie. Not just them. Just in general, little things, just not them. Little things here and there that they placed in. Again, just that one thing right there where it's like, 1, don't touch me. And I'm like, okay, and I assume 2 is going to be about Mako. And he's like, 2, don't touch me. And I just burst out laughing in the theater. I was like, this is fucking hilarious. Because I thought it was going to be a heartfelt thing, and it's like, no, 2, don't touch me. Also, when the other scientist, the one who was in Torchwood, so not I think, what was his name, Charlie Day, not him, the other one.
Yeah.
Who was in the British one who was in Torchwood.
Vern Gorman, yeah.
Yeah, he. When he had to throw up, and literally because the building, was bursted down around them, there's a toilet just out of the open that he can throw up in.
Right.
It's the little stuff like that. It's not just, when they do something really, just outwardly funny. Just the little things where it's just, either the dialogue or just, set placement. The comedy in this movie was actually it was really good, I have to admit. Like, it was really funny when it needed to be.
I think the funniest bit for me was just in the fight with they were category 4 or maybe this was 5. It was the one that basically it had the tail and the spitting acid and could fly, the bat-like one.
You're gonna say no pulse? Are you gonna say no pulse?
No, well, okay, that was my second. No.
Okay, because I did not like that one.
After that fight. Okay, that was. Well, whatever. I thought it was funny.
It was too much. If they were, you know what it was? If they were Power Rangers on the ground, I think it'd be like, haha. But, like, all I see when it's like, no pulse, and I'm like, if I was in that universe, I'd be like, is that what my tax dollars are doing?
Oh, my God.
You make jokes?
Oh, my God.
You shoot it again while making jokes? You're literally walking in a goddamn walking nuclear reactor.
Okay, here's why I think it was a good line. Because I feel like it leads back to the very first fight that you see in the movie when it's him and his brother fighting Knifehead, and they think they kill it, and they're like, no, we're still getting readings. So now this one, it's like, I think it's dead, but just to make sure, and blast it 3 more times until it explodes. I think it's
because it felt like he smiled, so it felt like one of those like tongue in cheek like, I'm kind of flirting with you right now by killing a monster that destroyed your nation.
No, I don't think that's, no.
It looked like flirting because he smiled at her. He didn't smile like, oh yeah, because that happened to me and my brother. He died. Anyway, I'm smiling.
Well then.
But here's the thing, though. It was a good callback, you're right, as a plot point. But, like, I don't think the character was like, I'm doing this for my brother. Because he looked back at her and smiled, and I'm just like, that's weird. Like, as if it was, like, again, like a joke. Like, does it have a pulse?
I mean, I don't know. I think Mako would have found that funny as a joke, too. That's just me.
I know, but you're saying it's a callback, like the character's like, for my brother.
I mean, not necessarily the character. I mean, maybe more for the audience.
The plot.
Like, right.
Yeah. As a
he
plot,
learned
yes.
since that fight.
He clearly has, yes. He's learned to love again.
Oh,
Or to,
God.
I mean, dude, after the saddest thing about the movie is just knowing that because you've drifted with someone in mid-drift, you're basically them.
Yeah.
So when you're
inside their mind.
Ooh.
He probably felt his brother die. Yeah.
Yeah, because he felt his brother. He felt it as himself. He felt himself die, and he has to keep on living.
He's also felt both of his arms being ripped off too.
Yeah, he's good.
The first part of the movie,
like
it was his left arm. Then later on in that, then when they're at the breach, it was his right arm.
Yeah. I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, honestly, dude, just like I'm looking at Idris Elba. I'm like, don't even talk to him. Just let him build a wall. Just let him. Sure, the wall fucking breaks down by a monster immediately, but you know what? Just let him have fun.
Yeah.
Just don't do this to him again. He died.
When they're watching the monster in Australia burst through the seawall, and just like he's working with the other construction crew members, and you just hear in the background, "Why the hell are we even building this thing?" It's kind of like, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing that sucks because, like, you know what's even worse? And I know we're not supposed to agree with, like, we can't watch a movie that's supposed to be about giant monsters and be like, let's hear them talk about politics, guys, because, like, no, let's just we want to fucking watch. No, but, like, here's the thing. I feel weird whenever we're watching a movie, and it doesn't matter what genre it is, or even if it's a TV show or anything, and there's, like, an opposing side, either politicians or military or just a governing side that's like, well, we're not going to fund this operation anymore. And they don't bring up another solution where it's like, did you really think the walls were going to hold all the time? Like, all jokes aside, and references aside, let's just be real here, though, when referencing this. The fucking Titans in Attack on Titan were so small compared to the wall that when a Titan came up that was bigger than the wall, it was like, all right, this is actually not supposed to happen.
Right.
But from the looks of the monsters in this film, in Pacific Rim, even though, to be fair, I don't know if the we didn't really get to see the progression of, like, how big the original one was compared to the wall.
True.
Or how many of them were. But I have a feeling that if they were building one that high, I mean, I guess maybe they were that tiny, but, like, they were, I don't know, like, I mean, I guess the one that broke through the wall, was bigger than most of the buildings, and then, the one in Tokyo, or at least in Japan, was around the size of some of the buildings.
Yeah, because, I mean, those were at least Category 3, because that was the first one that we see in the movie. Knifehead was Category 3. So it feels like Category 3 and up, it's like, the wall isn't going to do jack shit. Like, maybe against Category 1 or 2, it was enough to hold them back until, the Jaegers could get in there and deal with them, or even the military could mount a defense,
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, after a while, it's just like, like, why are you building this wall? Like, when
because there's even a small bit of dialogue. A leader of one country. I don't know if it was in the movie universe, if it was the president of the United States or not, but they were saying, if you're taking away funding from the Jaeger program, what is our other option? It's like, we still have, an option in the Wall of Life. That's what they call it in their universe. And it's like, we just had one in Sydney burst right through it in a matter of in under an hour. Like, really? Or, keeping the wall up and moving everybody to the safe zone. It's like, so away from the coast. And one person in the room even shouts out, it's like, so the rich go first and then the rest of us get eaten. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't really know what's going on behind there either, but it seems like the plan would be, well, humanity is no longer safe on the coast, so we have to move inland. But in a lot of other places, moving inland isn't exactly, doable. And, like, they talk about moving resources and everything, and, like, my biggest thought is, like, well, water is going to be a really big concern then. because our coastal regions is where we get most of our water, and the further you go inland, usually the less water there is.
Yep.
And
The
that's
one thing I
something
was
we
curious.
need to live.
Yeah.
A lot.
Also, like, just another thing of, like, if you can't take out the monsters, then where are they going to go? Maybe inland. I don't know.
They're probably going to follow you.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
if they're coming
being
after
out of
you,
water
like,
didn't seem to affect them in the slightest.
yeah, because they weren't water-based. They just came out of the water like, oh, shit, I'm trying to get to land. That was
Right.
literally it. Like, we're trying to get to land. That's all we care about. But one thing I want to mention, though, is who do you think did it better? Cultists that worship the walls that protect them, or cultists that worship the monsters that destroy them?
Oh my God.
Because I gotta be honest,
it's funny.
I think I'd rather go for the ones that support the wall, honestly, because it's like, hey, at least you think it at least could potentially protect you until it doesn't. Versus, like, could you
Right.
imagine people just being like, we must worship the Titans? Get the fuck out of here! Throw them over the wall. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, it's kind of like it's in like how later Godzilla movies you see that children are, they even have, like, even in movie universe, it's like the kids have toys and like, I want to see Godzilla, and the parents are like, no, Timmy, let's go.
Well, the toys are funny because it's like, they get commercialized, and you get, the fact that the movie had, it's like, oh yes, and it's military propaganda, and it's like they literally said it outright. I was like, that's awesome, because that is totally what would happen in the real world if some bullshit like that happened.
They do it here in Pacific Rim too.
That's what I'm saying.
I
in Pacific Rim. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably. It's from the fact that they were winning at that time. It's like I feel like for a while, like they were able to fight. Like obviously, even Beckett says it's like, we fought kaiju. Jaeger pilots kind of became rock stars, and it's like, and we were damn good at it. And for a while, because you see, even him and his brother, they get cocky, and then this one. So there was a time where they were basically outclassing the kaiju until the aliens started to realize, all right, look, we need to, this operation to to take over this planet is taking way too long. We need to up our game. Obviously, they have a defense set up that's relatively bulletproof right now. Let's step up the game.
That must have been funny. That must have been funny. Ha, puny small things. Let's send this in to destroy them. Literally, like 6 months later. Are you fucking serious? But they were puny small things. They made bigger things, sir. Fucking goddamn it.
Yeah. Damn it, only we're allowed to make bigger things.
Yeah, right? I'm like, all right, let's make bigger things.
Well, yeah. Well, at that point, they're like, all right, fine. Let's see. We can mass produce them. Let's see them do it too. Oh, crap.
Yeah, right. One person, they bring everyone together again, and what do we do now? Same person. What if, John, I swear to God. No, hear me out. Giant robots.
Oh, my God. What if we punch them really hard together?
But, yeah, right? Just what if the robots are bigger? And we could make sure that the robots, I don't know if I like where this is going, can reproduce. I really don't like where this is going.
I like where this is going. Oh, no.
Well, the monsters can reproduce. Why can't our robots? Damn it, get John out of here.
Yeah, I don't, that was weird. I'll admit, that
here's
part
what's
was
interesting.
weird. It was the only way that Newton could, drift with a brain that wasn't already brain dead at that point, but...
And also one that probably wouldn't kill them?
Arguably, I guess.
Well, it's a baby brain.
True.
Are you a baby brain doesn't know much compared to our brains?
Oh, you mean in saying their mind fighting back and trying to gain control, in a way?
No, just the fact that what's it called? They could from the looks of it, from the way it seemed, they can drift with other people because other people are at similar. But I don't actually think that they would be able to drift with a baby. I feel like the baby would get overwhelmed and fucking die, like a human baby. Same thing with a dog, where we made the jokes about the dog, but I think the dog unless it was
no.
like drifting. It was like one person drifting with like two dogs. Maybe one dog makes it out okay. Maybe can talk a little bit like, what the fuck? The other one's like, my owner is still a dick. You know. But that's the thing, right? The different levels of brain activity. So the problem with these kaiju is that they're fucking huge.
Right.
I mean, they need two brains. So even if you're,
yeah. Newton's deal was that he couldn't drift with the one that he had back in the lab because it was destroyed in the battle. He was trying to find one that had, one that was just recently taken down and wasn't, rotted or damaged away yet.
Right, but I feel like the one in the lab, though, would have probably killed him. Not even with a partner, I don't think it would have been that beneficial. Because, I feel like, because remember, the one that he had in the lab was like, yeah, it's partially damaged, but I can get some stuff from it. And he still had a nosebleed.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Clearly, these kaiju brain are fucking, again, just brain activity is off the charts.
I mean,
completely.
It's probably because, or an idea would be, their minds are so much more differently organized or ordered than a human mind would be. So melding two minds that are very alien to one another has very, very bad side effects for either side.
Yeah, and it clearly did.
Yeah.
Twice. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you have a seizure coming back out of that. It's like, no, that's not, no.
No, not good at all.
Let's not do this. No.
So, but talking about the characters, though, and their development, I do feel like, though, I would have liked to know some more about certain countries. I wish some more countries would have been represented. Again, I know you have to keep it down to 2 hours, but then that's kind of becomes the issue with saying, let's do a movie where we represent different countries. And yes, I can't just say, oh, the movie was filled with white people when there were different countries being represented, right? Which is true. No, because the same way where people, there are some people that say, "Oh, why are there so many, black people in Black Panther?" Not realizing that they're African, but from different African, parts of the yeah. So we can't just say only white people. However, it does feel a little strange that we didn't get Africa, or any part of Africa really.
Mm-hmm.
When it came to Asia, we got the triplets. But we didn't see much of them.
They were
we
China,
didn't really get. They were China, and we didn't really get.
The two Russians, right?
No, but again, so I don't want to just say white people because they were Russian, but it's like when you have Russian, Australian, and then you have the main character who I guess was American, because he mentioned San Francisco stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then it just, I don't know. To me, it just felt, lacking, even of course thinking of Germany. It's like, we got Germany, we called them Jaegers. It's like, no. So yeah, I feel like we were lacking.
Because we've only got, the program is already going down, so they haven't been able to manufacture anymore, and they've only got 4 left at this point. So that's why I would kind of like, in a way, a prequel movie to kind of see them in their heyday, and you probably would get to see a lot of other different countries, because another one thrown in South America would be another one to throw in there as well.
Yeah, weren't we gonna get a prequel movie before it became a sequel, or was I wrong there?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I know
because that was my mistake at first.
Yeah, we have a prequel comic book.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
I think.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Definitely
but anyway,
to pick that up.
Yeah, but my point though is that I do feel like we needed to learn more, and it's just, I don't know, it's a weird situation because you don't want to say, hey, we have African pilots, and then one of them is who would have been in the role of the cocky hotshot Australian, because then that doesn't look good, I guess.
Right.
It's just the only 2 African people in the movie, and one of them is a dick.
Right.
Whereas Dog is just look, man, I'm cool with everyone. My owner's a dick. You don't want to put that on a dog. So I just feel I don't know why the dog has to be referenced. I love that dog so much. He was so cool.
Yeah.
But but I still though I understand, like, you know, it's like, well, where do we put in these different characters, right? But it just
Right.
feels so strange. Even someone like Chow, where yes, it was good that Ron Perlman. First off, I love Ron Perlman, so I love that he was in the movie. If you don't know, Tristan, Ron Perlman has been both Hellboy, and he was in he was the voice of the main villain in Afro Samurai.
Right, right.
So I love Ron Perlman a lot. I love his work. He seems really cool. And he plays really cool characters. And of course, I like that he mentioned, hey, you know, I just took on the alias of you know, Hannibal Chow. But when you have that name, and I'm like, oh, are we actually going to get another Asian person in this movie with a noticeable role? And then we don't. In Hong Kong, no less, which obviously there are a bunch of white people in Hong Kong, but in Hong Kong, no less. And also Hong Kong felt like a general hub of anyone whose country has been fucked over by these, you know, by these kaiju can go to Hong Kong, to be fair.
Right.
I was going to say both. I went from Jaeger to then Titan, and I was like technically the same person. And then I went to kaiju. But still, like if you know, if your area has been affected by kaiju, it feels like you just kind of flock to Hong Kong, because it seemed like a general like trade port, not just normally, but definitely during the apocalypse.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I just felt weird not having someone, because I don't know who we would have had, but I feel like we could have had, like, there's obviously some very prolific, you know, Chinese actors that we could have had portray Hannibal Chow and kind of be fun with the role. But then, of course, you know, again, Hannibal Chow is also such a dick. That, like, do you want to do that and be like, the only representation we get in this movie is being an asshole?
Right.
So it's that weird line. You know what I mean, Tristan? It's that weird line you never know how to cross. You're like, do you know, it's like, I wanted more representation, but then the role in the movie that would have had it would have been a piece of shit.
Right, yeah.
So is it progress? Huge question mark. Like, I don't know how to answer that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
but it did feel like,
it did feel for me, the fight, like, the fight you get to see them in, you know, the Russian Jaeger and the Chinese Jaeger, I wish we had gotten to see some of their other fights, because obviously they're one of the 4 last remaining Jaegers, so they're definitely not pushovers. Like, and even the Russian pilots, they were there from like day one. So, holy crap. But the fight that they had to fight in was unfortunate for them, because now the aliens are stepping up their game. They have 2 kaiju coming through at the same time. One of them has an EMP pulse that literally knocks out the entire bot, and the other one shoots acid that can melt through, you know, steel, titanium, anything that we've put together. So they were basically there to show, it's like, yeah, these aliens, they're Category 4, and they have powers, and they're a lot more intelligent than they've been in the past. We're kind of sucks, guys.
Yeah, as a plot line, it made sense.
Right.
Right?
Oh, exactly.
It's just It's just frustrating because, again, like, thankfully there were other Asian people in the movie other than Mako. Yes, good. But it just does come off as a little, you know, I hate the word upsetting because I don't want to be like, I'm so upset. But, like, it was, you know, it sucked, right? Just for lack of a better term. It sucked because we really couldn't see, not that the scene sucked, but, like, it sucks that we cannot see more of the other nations. I know it's an English movie made for an American audience, but it's just, you know, there's no reason why we need to see the main character, who I don't hate him or his actor, but he felt pretty bland. Like, I know, like, it was his movie, arguably, but I felt more connected with Mako and with her, you know, adoptive father, arguably. You know, his struggle to live with, you know, radiation poisoning times 20, right? Like, like literally.
I mean, the funny
like,
thing
holy
about
shit.
him, he's actually English.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes, he is English. So he was the one English person that was in the movie. So he was the English representation.
And hearing him talk about as an actor being in the film, like I heard his actual voice, and I was like, oh, you've been putting on an accent the whole time. Holy crap.
No, he wasn't English in this movie. I thought he was English in the movie.
I mean, I felt like it was more of an American accent, but maybe that's just me.
Oh, then he's not good at that. Because I heard English. Well, because I've heard him be English in Thor. So for some reason, it just felt like he was always, oh, God, am I just hearing Idris Elba as English all the time? That's not good. I have to watch the movie again now.
Well,
I feel like no matter what, he just sounded like he was English beneath the surface.
Mm.
Like when he says we're going to cancel the apocalypse, it didn't seem like for some reason it just felt like he was.
I was taught the main, well, not the main, but the other pilot for Gypsy, Charlie Human, or Hunman.
Oh, you meant him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean Beckett.
Oh, then okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant because I was still talking about her dad. Okay, sorry. Because when I said and he's dealing with radiation, you were like, oh yeah, he's British. I thought you were referring to Elba again. Okay, no.
Yeah.
The main character. Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh,
the main character.
He was raised in London too. Huh. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't realize the main character was okay. So then, you know what? I have to be honest with you. That might be the reason why I thought he was a little bit bland, quote unquote. Because and it's something against it's just something like whenever I hear even someone like David Tennant, who I love to death, we both love, not just in Doctor Who, but in many other works that he's in. But when he does an American accent, it sort of takes something away because you have the actor or actress, in some cases, trying so hard to replicate or just get rid of the accent that I think it sometimes takes away from other things that they're trying to do. Because there's something about him during the movie that it just didn't feel, and not every actor comes off as a bit more bland, but it did something about him and what he was saying and how he was doing everything. It felt like he was a bit reserved in some ways, and not reserved like, I'm just sad because, my brother really fucking died, guys. And I felt it. Not that, but there's something about it that felt reserved, and now that you tell me that, I actually think that makes sense to me in my interpretation because I'm sure he's a great actor, but hearing him in this and watching him in this, there was just something that felt off, and that might be why, perhaps.
Okay.
But when it came
I would
to,
say the character itself would other than like you said, his brother dying in combat as well, but just the fact that he's a bit reserved too, because I felt like Mako in a way she was very reserved as well, and it feels like basically all of the pilots in their own way, obviously some of the other pilots are a little more like Chuck, the Australian, he's a loose cannon, but Stacker always looks at Beckett saying he's the loose cannon and not really, because he's the only one who really kind of got on his case about why you not letting Mako pilot. She's obviously the best candidate we've got, and he's like, look, you would better step off and just follow my instruction because that's what we need to do. And no, she can't go because her memories are going to get to her in combat, just like I thought they would.
But here's the thing: he didn't actually say that at first. He didn't say it at first. We had to learn, which obviously it's we had to learn it throughout the movie. But to be fair, it's one of those things where it's like, if you could have mentioned it, maybe he would have laid off. Like, oh shit, your entire everything is dead. Wow, that's a lot more everything than me and my brother. Man, I can only imagine how that must have felt. Never mind.
Right.
Granted, I don't know. Because, here's what's interesting. Here's a question that I have for you, and we don't actually know this, but I'm just curious. When we see that someone's Jaeger doesn't exist, we don't have a Jaeger for Germany, does that mean there's no Germany, or?
I didn't think of it that way, but
that's what I'm worried about. Or is it more like we don't have the money to pay for German Jaegers anymore? Which, by the way, man, did we I feel like we gentrify Jaegers. We fucking take the name and there's no Germany. Holy shit,
God.
Guys. We're dicks about that. We appropriated Jaegers. What the fuck?
I mean,
but you see what I mean, though, right? Do you think it's just a money thing? We're not going to fund for any more, so if you have 4, that's all you have left? Kind of dealy?
It might have. Because I don't know if it would have been the individual countries themselves pulling out of the deal. Look, we can't fund our robot anymore. Because I feel like it was a pooled effort. Maybe it was.
No.
Maybe
But that's what I'm
did.
saying. No, you misunderstand.
You
understand. It's a pooled effort. But if the German Jaeger was destroyed, and they're like, look, as a world, we're pulling out. Therefore, why are they going to make another one for Germany if everyone's agreed to pull out?
I guess, yeah.
That's what I mean.
Personally,
like,
yeah. Personally, I don't think that's what it would have happened. I feel like they had their shot, and well, not that they had their shot, but like they were probably destroyed in that. And I guess okay, maybe it's half and half. I feel like it wouldn't have been they just pulled out because like we don't have the money. I think it was more of we don't have the pilots either, and we can't get anyone else to like volunteer for this.
Right.
I feel like
they
definitely had one in the fight at some point in the past.
Yes.
But
yes. Oh, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. They had one in the fight, and then since the entire world basically told Idris Elba, we're pulling out. I assume they're not like, we're pulling out, but we're going to let you build another one for Germany.
Right.
Like, no, they're like, we're pulling out. Idris Elba, so no German one? No,
Right.
What the fuck? As they click off, what? We just told them that, didn't we? We did just tell them that. I don't know. But just Germany. Germany was late to the meeting. Are you going to make a German one? We need to explain some things for you. But we just had a German one and it exploded. We need another one. Well,
okay.
We're all not getting one. Oh, so Germany gets one exploded and no one has one. No, it's not. It's not based on you, Germany. Not based. Just imagine Germany's like, we're late once. No, Germany.
Oh my
it's
God.
okay. It's okay, Germany. but no, because I mean that made me nervous because you look at Japan, and sure, Del Toro said he wanted the areas to seem uninhabited because he wanted to seem like it was kind of guilt-free destruction. Like you can have the city destroyed and not feel like you're like, oh my God, is someone in that car or something like that,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
So he wanted most of the areas to seem deserted, and they even see people going into bunkers and stuff like that.
Right.
So you can just see, Gypsy Danger destroying those monsters in Hong Kong and not be like, oh no, are the people okay, right? So that was good. However, when it happened in Japan in Mako's memory, I was like, is there a Japan for her to go back to if she wanted to?
Right.
Because the way by the way, it was a very interesting, like, crab-like kaiju. It was super cool to see one in Japan. It felt very much like, not just location-wise, but it just feels very much like older Japanese, either giant monster or just like Kamen Rider villains and stuff like that, making like a a crab like kaiju. That was fun.
Yeah.
But what wasn't fun is how it was fucking destroying the city and trying. Yes. Tell the fans about this.
Well, they even talked about how making the kaiju. Del Toro talked about how in Japanese cinema making the giant monsters they are outlandish and almost like decorated in a sense of just some pieces or parts of them look like, well, how does that even function? But he also wanted to bring in the element of each of them was kind of animalistic in a way, so that looking at them, it's like, oh, they're more believable in a sense too. Like they have all these crazy horns and everything, but they're still like two-legged, or they still have like animal features, like crab-looking. There was the crocodile-looking one. They have shark-like, all these different things, bat-like. And it was really cool to see that.
Because they were cloned, I would not be surprised if the aliens were like, hey, so it's probably easier to open this rift in their waters and not in their skies, because they just look up and see it. So since we have this rift in their water and we're going to clone up some shit to kill them, let's just clone the shit that's in their waters.
Yeah, I wonder if...
Because only one of them had wings like a bird. Most of them were pretty much water-based, like sharks and crab and...
Yeah, there was the one with the EMP pulse. They were talking about. They made it look a little more gorilla-like because it was kind of on its knuckles as it walked onto land.
Yes.
Like shorter back legs.
You're right.
So there is a
there
is a bit of spread of different animals, but yeah, a lot of them do see water-esque. I wonder if that was a tactic by the aliens to put the rift, or whether it was just, well, we're going to open up a dimensional rift. It just kind of appears where it appears. But making it underwater, the one place that we really can't get to. Because undersea travel. Granted, we have a lot more advanced technology in this universe in the film, so maybe we could reach the bottom of the ocean without a Jaeger. But
still, though, like it's a bit different than flying up. Going
right,
into the water.
Exactly.
It's a bit different.
We can go up much easier than we can go down.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, the sea pressure and everything.
Like,
but
we
how
know
did you
more
feel
about space than we do the ocean floor. That's kind of a scary thought.
That's what we thought until the aliens showed up.
Yeah, right.
Now, how did you feel about the gypsy, Danger? How did you feel about it falling from the fucking, from what sphere were they at? Like, when literally the flying
when
one
the
took them all the way up. I was like, guys, I know I have to be suspending my disbelief, but that's really high up.
I mean, it is, but that is a lot of metal.
Right, but the force of impact, I don't think they predicted, what if it flew into the sky and then you'd have to land on your feet?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not from that height, but, they airdrop a lot of the, Jaegers into battle, too, so it has to be able to take some kind of shock and fighting the monsters alone. So there is some kind of compensation for, pressure and damage from hitting physical objects. But, yeah.
Good point.
It did feel a bit of a stretch, but they were definitely damaged after that fight. And really, even if the legs were destroyed, the head, the head is what needs to survive for the pilots to live, so.
Of course. How did you feel about the fact that they're all fucking walking, just bombs? All of them. Well, at least the earlier Jaeger models.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because most of them were nuclear powered at that point.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. No, because, how do you feel about that?
That's a little scary.
Very much, although it is very much like the U.S. or really any country to just be like, when coming together, just being like, because obviously, yes, they're irradiated, so that's why they needed shielding, but I'm pretty sure all of them are still irradiated, even because they got shielded later, but they're still irradiated, and that's kind of the funny thing, where it's just like, we're walking nuclear bombs, sir. Yeah, but even though those other ones aren't technically radiated, the kaiju, they're still going to kill us. So, what? Like, what are we going to do?
Yeah, because it feels like the later models, they switched more to electrical power, because that's why the EMP blast takes them out.
They're digital, and I'm like, oh, motherfucker. Like, granted, I know it's good to not be nuclear, but, like, God damn it. We couldn't be analog. This is why I'm a fan of CRT TVs, Tristan.
Oh my God.
No, I think that would still have a problem. Even though it's analog, I think it still have a problem.
Oh, right. Oh my God.
But
I just
you would
love
think it's
that's
because
where
of
you
my
take it. That's where you think it's because
you would think it's because of my retro video game collection, but it's not. It's because if I had 2 CRT televisions, I could beat up a kaiju. It's just that simple, Tristan.
Matt Marrero, 2018.
With CRT technology.
Oh my God! It would be like when Gypsy took those 2 storage containers and smacked the big one in the head, and all the stuff comes flying out. Furniture, a moped. That was phrased as Del Toro humor. Because that was the one line. That was the one scene I didn't get to say before when you asked me, or when you're talking about humorous scenes. I love it when they punch and they miss and go into a building, and the fist just stops right before the desk, and it just pushes the chair, and the desk toy just starts going back and forth. The pendulum just starts going back and forth.
My favorite. Yes, that might be my favorite scene, actually. Yes, just, again, little stuff like that. It's like, oh, God damn it. It's so small, but it's so funny.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking of, because I want to try to wrap this up soonish, but not immediately, everybody. We still have some stuff to say about this amazing film. Because here's the thing, too, right, Tristan? It's a good film. I feel like because of the stuff left on the cutting room floor, it's hard for me to be like, the best film. Again, also because it's the first of its kind. Like, I hope this sets off, even though sadly we're only getting the second of its kind as a sequel to this movie, but I do hope that it kind of sets off more of movies in this genre. Not just because I don't want people to look at the newer Godzilla films or even the newest King Kong film and be like, great, we've got movies just like Pacific Rim, because it's really not.
Yeah.
You know, it really is not at all. One thing I want to say, though, is, and this is not even a joke, I mean, it's partially a joke, but I'm mostly serious. After watching this movie again, I truly believe that it could seamlessly fit in either Godzilla's or, King Kong's, or even Cloverfield's universes, honestly.
Mm.
Not these characters necessarily, but the idea of kaiju and, Jaegers and having, just fucking Cloverfield monsters show up for a second, or even having somehow having, Godzilla show up, and then all of a sudden these aliens from this movie are like, we've created a rift. Kaiju are coming out of them, and Godzilla's like, you want to fucking go?
Oh, hell no. Yeah, there we go. Have the Jaeger program team up with Godzilla and all his best friends, and have them fight the aliens and fight the Cloverfield aliens. Oh, it's monsters versus aliens.
That's basically all it is.
Oh, it's like, oh god, we've already done that.
Yeah, right. But seriously though, do you see what I see? Do you see how
it's been used? Ah, crap.
Yeah, right. But do you see how easily they could fit? I mean, of course, like, not the exact same scenario. Things would have to be changed.
Oh, God, the canon. Oh, God.
Oh, no, it would just be like King Kong versus Godzilla. That's its own fucking movie in canon. It has nothing to do with any of the other ones.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know about the new one, but I'm referring to the older one. I don't know what they're going to do with the new one. Maybe the new one would fit into the, canon of the movies well, but the newer ones, but I'm talking about, like, the original, like, that was just its own thing. I was like, this does not fit in with shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like they could, though. I got to be honest, man. Because I was saying to you during Cloverfield, I was like, oh, yeah, now that, we did Paradox and they talked about, all these different theories and stuff, I was like, maybe it could fit, right? And then also on Keikaku Corner, another podcast that we do on those guys on the radio YouTube channel and on our Blog Talk Radio account, we did like a clip talking about an article where I forgot who it was. I think it was the new director for the second Pacific Rim, actually, was saying, like, hey, it could cross over with Godzilla and King Kong eventually. And just me sitting here like, yeah, and then now seeing Cloverfield being like, oh, God. Like, I got to be honest, I feel like we could have an American exclusive type of Godzilla Destroy All Monsters melee.
Yeah.
With Godzilla, King Kong, a few other Godzilla monsters that have appeared in these latest two Godzilla movies, and then just, making cameo appearances are fucking, Gypsy, Danger, Hammerhead, and fucking the Cloverfield monster.
Oh, my God.
Shit,
I need a game.
I'm giving them ideas.
Yeah.
I'm giving them ideas now. What? No, I was saying.
I need a game, like a fighting game, just of all these mashed up into.
That's what I'm saying. They could make a basically Godzilla Destroy All Monsters melee. But I'm saying I'm giving them ideas because just like with Soul Calibur, they can make they'll make the Gypsy PS4 exclusive and Cloverfield Xbox One exclusive.
Oh my God.
And then Nintendo Switch just gets Mario who ate a mushroom.
Oh my! I want it. I want it so bad.
Which one will you buy?
No, I have to see Mario eat a mushroom and go one-on-one with Godzilla and Gypsy Danger. Now I have to see it.
Well, remember, Gypsy Danger is the PS4 exclusive. That's the PS4 exclusive.
I hate you so much.
Well, I don't know who else Nintendo would put in there.
Oh my God.
Does Nintendo have any giant monsters in their roster? No. I mean, maybe it could fight Ridley.
Xenoblade had some, but Ridley would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who else Nintendo has, but like as a main character, that could be like,
Right.
well, let's have him. Like Mario's the only one. It's like eat a mushroom, grow large enough to fight Godzilla.
You throw Bowser in there? Oh God.
Oh God. Anyway, so what matters is that I don't know how to feel about the Hong Kong part of the movie because it was needed. But I feel like I would have, even though it was needed because it obviously ended up being integral to the fucking end of the movie,
Right.
I still feel like if parts of it were cut or shortened just so that we could have, like, a backstory for somebody, I feel like I would have pushed for that. Even though I'm not saying I disliked it, like, personally. Like, every scene that they did in Hong Kong, I'm referring to not the fight, but, like, mostly with, you know, Charlie Day's character and Chow. But there's still something about it that just seems like, even though it obviously became integral to the plot, there's just something about it that I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like we could have gotten to know more about one of the pilots, even though they did end up dying. But, like, still, I don't know, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I can't feel like there's a part of the movie that could have been cut. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you know, it makes sense.
I thought the pacing was really well with everything.
Yes. Yeah, but it just does really, it is really sad with everything that we had to lose on the cutting room floor, because I do feel like there's pieces that are missing.
Okay.
But
We'll
again, like, I don't know how long.
edition.
I really wish we did, dude. Like, were there any, like, deleted scenes on the special edition?
I didn't see any, but there was also a second disc of special.
Wait, so you did? I thought you put on the. I thought you put on the second disc.
No, I was watching the stuff on the movie disc. They had special features on there, and then there's another special features disc. And I'm like, holy shit!
No, I know you were, but I thought you busted out that second disc too.
Well, I didn't think I had time. I didn't. I haven't looked on it yet because I didn't think I had time before the cast.
That's funny. Wow, I didn't realize they were that long on the first disc. Wow. But yeah, so definitely go buy that, guys. Apparently, you all of you have fucking went and bought the Pacific Rim PS3 game because I can't find that. Unless it was digital only, I can't find that online.
Oh.
I was looking for that and I couldn't even find one. I don't. If it's digital only, then that's okay. But like, I thought there was a physical release, and I'm like, I can't find this anywhere.
Right.
But apparently everyone bought those. But totally buy the movie if you haven't yet. It's a really fun movie. Definitely check it out. I don't know why. I mean, maybe some people saw it years ago and were like, "Oh, should I go purchase it before the second one?" I would say yeah.
Right.
You know, I mean, even though it seems like I've been railing on this, I really think that I loved the giant monster fights. I think they were done well. Nothing really seemed out of place. The characters really brought a lot of depth to this, to this movie, where I feel like, and even not even just the characters, really, the actors really brought something to this movie. I feel like every single one of them, and you even mentioned just the way the characters play off of each other, they were really curated or like picked very well, both the characters and even the actors, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean,
even
because
they had scenes where they were talking about some of the most like physically exerting stuff was filming in the the Jaeger heads when they were piloting the robots, because that whole set is like the suit, like they're wearing the whole suit, they've got a harness underneath, and then the actual attachments that are on them actually give them kind of a bit of physical resistance, so it makes their movements look more realistic. And they would do X amount of shots each day till they got it, and it was just like we were completely dead after it. But the one actress, Rinko Kikuchi, who played Mako, Del Toro went on to say, like, anytime we did those scenes, like we'd go and change something or whatever, she always had a smile on her face, and she never acted like, oh, I'm exhausted, like, give me a break, like, just 1 minute, let me breathe. She's like, no, I'm ready, let's go.
Yeah, so her, and also her character,
really nice.
I think that her character, so two things. One, I love how strong her character was. I love
Yeah.
how they had no problem having her exude strength and exude power, through her training with the main character, as well as obviously being picked as a pilot and being in the Jaeger. There was never a sense of, oh, please save me, right? There was never
exactly.
any of that bullshit at all. Even though we don't even know much about the other Russian pilots, still, it never seemed like she was like, oh, save me, duh. No,
Yeah.
it was always like it was always like, well, this is what we're doing, right? Because again, they're tough, they're pilots, they're not supposed to be like, oh no.
Because there was even one line for me where Beckett walks in is like, you don't have to let, the marshal push you around. Like, if you're going to be a pilot, then, this is worth fighting for. And she turns around and she says, no, it's not because of, like, obedience. It's not that. It's out of respect that I don't, try to.
Which is kind of, it's a little off in terms of, like, it's weird because, like, obviously other characters displayed respect as well, right? Like the older, like, Australian dad.
Right. It was more of she wasn't kind of like shooting off like, Beckett's character kind of was at him at one point. Like, he didn't know the story. She's like, no, I'm not going to, like, go off at him because he's not letting. It's like, I want to be a pilot, yes, obviously, but it's like, I still respect the man that, saved me as a child, So, like, I get why he's not. It was out of a sense of, like, I want you to be safe. I don't, because, you see what happens in the first training, exercise that they go through. She nearly blows up the base. Granted, you need that second shot, and she was destined to be a pilot. So.
Also, I'm a little thrown off about something. How old or how long have the Jaegers? How long have both the Jaegers and also the Kaiju? How long have they been around at this point in the story? Because I thought they didn't go that far into the future.
They were talking about, what did they mention? I think they mentioned 2016.
Was the first time shit happened, right?
I don't know if it was the first time shit happened. I can't remember now the line, but I remember hearing them saying the year, and it's, it was a few years in the future.
So what was the final year that they were like, this is the present day, when they're like, we're shutting the program down?
I don't know. Let's see if I can find it.
Because if Mako was a kid, looking like she's freaking like 5 years old, she was like 8, but like she could, like, what was she, like, what was it? It's a stretch to be like she's 10, I would think.
Yeah. No, she's at least, I would say she's at least in her 20s by the time she's the pilot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So, like, yeah. So I'm wondering, like, what, how long it was, because she does not look, and also, again, like, how young are you? Because, like, it's just a weird thing, because, like, I feel like if the pilots, okay, so I know it would seem really dumb, but please hear me out, and I say this to the audience as well. If the pilots were kids, then some of what or not kids, like, 5 or 8 or 10, but like younger, some of what some of them did maybe would make more sense as to why, like, oh, you're super cocky. Well, because you're super young, right?
Oh, wow, okay. This is...
What?
So that first scene where we see the Beckett brothers, that's 2020.
Yes, that I remembered, yes.
2013 is the first appearance of the Kaiju.
Yes.
And over the course of the 3 years, they wreak havoc along coastal cities.
So then 7 years, and then plus another 5?
And then 2025, world governments decide to end funding for the continuous construction of Jaegers. Yeah, so another 5 after that.
Okay. No, that's fine, because then that makes me think, okay, yeah, 2025, that means that she would have been, if she was 10, let's say, when the whole, when she was trying to, not be eaten by crab kaiju, then that would mean that she would be, like in 2013, let's say this happened, right? So 2013, add another 12 years to that, so then she would have been 22. So then, to be fair, she did grow up with him kind of like as a father figure, so it makes sense that it's more respect. You know what it is, dude?
Yeah.
It's this weird line between, like, I know that they're trying to show every person in the world or whatever, but because they only focused on her, it just comes off as awkward where it's like, we have one Japanese person. What do we say? We say that she cares about honor and respect. Like, it comes off as a bit too stereotypical, which some people kind of complained about at the time, who, I don't know if they were Japanese American, but they were a little off-put by it. But of course the thing is that, yes, she also grew up with him as a child, so it's not like it's just a Japanese thing.
Right.
Right? And again, it's not like it's meant to be, anyone shitting on the Japanese at all. But it's just one of those things where, like, if it was a Japanese writer, which it's not, or if it was a Japanese manga, which it wasn't, it would make sense that a Japanese person can be like, yeah, no, we're about honor, respect, and see this American mouthing off. And to be fair, yes, it's the American mouthing off, arguably, right? But it was just a thing of just, being like, why do you not fight back? And it's like, it's not about that. It's about respect. Like, it kind of felt very, very, like, a stereotypical. And also, her shyness makes sense in the context of you haven't really grown up around. I mean, heck, your entire family is dead.
Yeah, right.
So you're going to be reclusive. But it was kind of odd when she's just kind of staring at him through the peephole.
Yeah.
That's a little odd. Not saying it's trying to push out an idea of, like, Japanese perverseness, not trying to, get to that level of, like, oh, good God, no. But it's just a little awkward trying to paint, like, again, if they were both teenagers, that would make sense.
Right. Yeah.
But she's not. She's in her early 20s, and that's, I mean, I'm not saying people, I guess, don't do that. It's just a weird thing to have in the movie.
No, yeah.
Like,
it's just
like that being in the movie didn't make me think, like, right, because all of us do that, right, everyone? Am I right? Like, if I was at a viewing party and I said that, I mean, even if there were people that did do that, I would not get any high fives.
No, I mean,
I get
it's
some
more
weird looks.
just the fact of, look, the world's ending around you. You're in a huge bunker surrounded by military personnel all the day, all the time, 24/7. It's like, I don't know. It's one thing that just takes your mind off of things for a split second, and you look at someone, and it's like, they're attractive, and then you realize, oh shit, I'm at work. That kind of idea. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Oh shit, I'm at work. Right. We're all at work. Take your shirt off. Just yelling at him. We're all at work. Take your shirt off.
Or, oh God, I would joke and say the opposite. Like, put a shirt on, or close your door at least. God.
I feel the same, actually. I'm yelling from both sides of my mouth, just joking around in that way. But also, yeah, you're right. Like, the fucking door's open. What are you doing, dude?
Right. Yeah.
Not that anyone should be looking at you, but, like, dude, like, why aren't you closing your door? That's weird.
Right.
But I mean, I guess growing up in being in that military environment for so long, it's just like, yeah, door's open. So what? We shower together.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But so
I do want to point out though, at the end scene when they both float back out of the drift and Mako, opens the capsule. Oh, that was hilarious too. When she's just like, holding him like, please be alive, like, don't go. I already just my parents have already died. I lost my father figure. Almost everyone I know is dying left and right. I don't want to lose somebody else now on top of that. And he's just like, please let go. What? Breathe.
Yeah.
Oh, but the point I wanted to make was there isn't a kiss. And it's an action movie, so I was happy we didn't have to have the leads kiss at the end. Oh.
Two things.
But they still had a touching moment, though. It's not like they can't hold each other or hug or be like, hey, we just went through a huge event and we came out alive on the other side, like high five or just a hug or anything. Just, a basic human thing to do. Like, yeah, you would probably hold the person next to you like, we made it out of this alive. Oh, my God.
Yes.
But
Two
it
things.
didn't have
One,
to be romantic,
Right. First off, survival. Secondly,
I will punch you. Oh, my God. I knew you were
Secondly,
gonna say
could
that.
you imagine if, their heads are touching and all of a sudden he's like, whoa, Mako, I have a girlfriend. What? You never mentioned her? Yeah, I know, because we were at work.
Oh, Matt, why?
But seriously, though, let's be real here, though. Let's be real here. Let's be adults. I'm happy that they didn't kiss, but then it also makes some of the earlier scenes in the beginning weird where, I mean, because again, like, okay, I like that they were trying to have a kind of closeness, that they were trying to build up to a closeness that didn't have to resolve in any, sexual tension, dumb drama, or even kissing as a kind of crescendo. Like, the crescendo is that they're fucking alive, like Jesus. But,
right, exactly.
But, though, Tristan, there's always buts, then that just makes the scene where she's looking at the peephole kind of really weird. Like, I don't know what that was supposed to signify or do. Just like, hey, like maybe you're supposed to laugh, like, hey, isn't he attractive? And then close the door, like, I guess maybe.
In a way, because he has a line, too, when she first has the suit and they walk in, and she's like, well, do you have anything to say? And he's like, well, it doesn't really matter. You're going to be inside my head in a few minutes anyway. And then he just turns and he's like, you look good. And granted, it didn't feel like it was supposed to be that offhanded, but it was just kind of an honesty. Like, we're about to be inside each other's minds. Yes, you're kind of attractive. But at the same time, at the very end, it doesn't, just because, maybe you say, oh, the person's attractive, it doesn't actually mean, like, I want to be with them, though, kind of deal.
Of course not.
Right.
Very, 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 very true.
So
One
I
thing
feel
I
like
want to mention,
they
though,
could, like, it does, like, the people scene does still feel weird. Yeah, I will admit that. But it's also just kind of the idea. It's like, yeah, okay, the person's attractive. But, yeah, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that they're going to have a relationship after all of these events have occurred. Right.
So one thing I want to mention, apparently Del Toro described the fight scene the way it was, a fight scene as in the training scene,
right,
with the two of them as, apparently he described it as, he filmed it the way a sex scene would be shot. If I ever meet the man, I don't want to get too personal. I just want to know how he has sex, because I didn't see it that way. I just want to know. Because Tristan, we have this scene, then we have Shape of Water with Fishmen. I just want to know what's going on. I just want to know.
Oh God, why?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I gotta know what's going on.
So I feel like you posing that question, I have to be devil's advocate, but I don't know that I can defend it in words well enough that that things won't be said about me, so I won't.
No. Here's the thing. I see what that means from an artist's emotional standpoint.
It's supposed to be an intimate scene, but not that kind of intimacy.
Yes, exactly. I just don't want to discuss either fighting or sex with him, I think.
I mean, okay, that's fair. Granted, if you ever meet the man, I don't think those are going to be, fighting maybe, but I don't think those are two topics that are going to be at the top of the list. I think you'd probably talk about mechas first.
Yeah, actually, I think before mechas we'll talk about giant monsters first.
Okay.
But back to serious land here. Back to seriousness. So I like the way they did the drifting, or the idea of drifting with kaiju. That was really cool. However, it was really funny, the idea of, remember, it's a two-way street, Genius, which I think was kind of a weird oversight. I mean, granted, I know the idea is, but we have to learn more about them, and besides, it's dead anyway. And we didn't know that it's a hive mind, arguably. So he thought that the mind would have just been left there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's so. I guess that's just the only oversight. Because if it wasn't a hive mind, then it would have just been left in that mind, all of his knowledge.
Right. Yeah, and because
it's a
he didn't know. He's never used the drift technology before. I mean, that was probably half the reason why
No.
the marshal said, no, you're not doing it.
No, I think he knew, because why would they not let him? Like, many of them know when they're in that, like, at that level what the drift technology does. I just think that he didn't know it was a hive mind, because why would you?
Yeah.
Well, because not
I mean,
how do you know that
funny
every kaiju is?
Because
Like, how do you know every what?
because I don't think Newton would have been let in on the secrets of like how the Jaeger technology works. He was hired on as studying the kaiju, so he probably didn't know. At least that's just my opinion. I don't think he would have known
But, I
that
mean,
it was a
but wouldn't
two-way
it be?
street with their drift.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. I feel like when you become a rock star and the Jaeger, like, you know, Jaeger pilots are such rock stars, I feel like that would come up in public conversation, because who's going to reverse the technology?
I mean, maybe, but also they might have been told, hey, look, don't talk about our tech when you're interviewed. Like, that might be a gag order, like, hey, this is classified, don't fucking talk about it.
I don't think it matters when every country is doing it.
I guess, maybe.
Arguably, the only reason why we keep secrets is so that other countries don't take our secrets, flip them, make them either better or more destructive, and then use them against us. When every country is on the same page, who's going to...
Yeah, all right,
like, there's one rogue person, we're going to make our own Jaeger and kill all of you. Like, who? Like, there's giant monsters coming out of every fucking orifice of the earth. Like, let's not have... Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, literally, like, even terrorist groups are like, no, we're going to step down here.
We're just going to let the giant monsters do their thing. Oh, jeez.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, you know? Like, what are we going to...
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to...
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's
Fair
just
enough.
me. But, like, I don't think the two-wayness was the issue. It was, wait, this isn't going to end here?
Right.
Because that's the whole idea of, like, oh, it's just going to end in this jar. Who cares about the fact that, you know, I cried at summer camp or something, right? He would say that.
Yeah, he would.
But it's not about that. It's about the fact that he knew their future plans. Like, here's what we're going to drop here. We're going to drop this there. It's going to do this here and everything. And so now all of a sudden aliens are like, oh, someone was that stupid.
Yeah, right? Oh, jeez.
Yes. But apparently Chow tried it too, but all they had to learn from Chow was, like, this guy is not Asian. That's all they learned from him.
Right.
But
either that or the aliens were just like, oh, God, they harvest all the organs and then, like, they huff the bone powder to do what?
Good God. I have a question for you.
They're just like, you know that doesn't do that, right? Whatever. We're just going to destroy them anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Looking at the design of Chow, I have a question for you, and be very honest with me, Tristan. Doesn't he just look like one giant walking STD? Like, he looks like he has something.
I mean, you got me in kind of a corner here, Matt. I don't know how to answer that question.
I'm just saying this much.
I mean,
seems like
maybe
he's
he
had
got
some
it
of that
when he
bone
drifted
powder.
with the kaiju. Or maybe that's what the bone powder does to you. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I feel like he does not seem like he's like.
You know what? Maybe he personally tests everything that he sells. That way, it's just like, no, it is 100% guaranteed. This will work for you.
Chow guaranteed.
Take it from that Hannibal Chow guarantee. Oh my God.
My God. No, I only look at it as like Hannibal Chow does not look like the person that says, I walk down a righteous path. I do not use my body in that way. That's what I'm saying.
That's okay. That's a fair assessment, I suppose.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I love, by the way, we're gonna send one of our biggest mathematicians to this guy, but don't trust him. It's like you don't have one security guard to spare. Like, holy shit. Like, I love that it was the adventures of Charlie Day. I love it.
Yeah.
No. I don't mean a Jaeger pilot. I just mean you don't have one dude who's just like, look, I
to
can't
go
do
along
anything
with him
against.
as security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, granted, I'm sure he would have been shot. The security member would have been shot on the spot because he would have looked like a fucking narc. But still, but I mean, Chow looks like a narc too. So I don't know. Not Chow. Sorry, not Chow. Charlie Day's character looks like coming in with a suit and everything.
Right.
But it's just, oh, by the way, so yeah, but Chow has also apparently tried. So I have a strange feeling that either Chow is ex-military or he's just like, look, man, I get weird shit in here. I got some of that Jaeger shit. So I tried the drift because I was like, fuck it. Let's see what's going on. And I lost an eye. And I'm like, oh, God.
Maybe. Oh, yeah.
Well, because he said, I've done that too. And he showed his eye. And I was like, oh, God. Yeah.
And, I mean, technically that means he called himself an idiot, too.
Yes.
Because he's like, idiot, you actually did it. It's like, well, I did it, too. It's like, so are you calling yourself an idiot, too? That's not
the point. And then you
get
shot, Tristan.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get shot. Yeah.
And then everyone pulls their gun on him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God, I love when they're all like, he's coming out. Like, he's like, let me out. And they're all like, oh, shit, he just wants him. Everyone back the fuck away.
Right. Oh, my God. And they just throw him in the middle. Holy shit.
Oh, look at that. A monster wants someone who's now part monster. I wonder what show that could be associated with, Tristan. Gee, I wonder.
Matt, I swear to God.
I already texted that one to you.
Oh, my God.
I did, right? I think I texted you that while it was happening.
Okay, maybe you did. I didn't notice that you did.
Okay, thought I did. Anyway,
I'm gonna have to settle this.
But it's just
gonna have to settle this the real way. I'm just gonna have to Jaeger pilot each other and fight.
Basically, just giant mechs.
Settle this the old-fashioned way with giant mechs.
The old-fashioned way, in the 1920s, the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
It does. It really does.
Duel with mechs. You pull your glove off and you smack the guy across the face, and then you initiate a duel. You initiate fisticuffs.
Except in giant robots.
Mechticuffs.
Yes, correct. So, you mentioned earlier you want to see like the earlier days. I really want to see Australia Dad's early days.
Yeah, that too.
Like, he seems like a hardened, like a veteran, like a really cool soldier. That I'm like, I want to see what you were doing when your son was off being an even littler idiot.
Right, yeah, Hercules Hansen. Yeah. Which is, that was his first name.
Oh, God, that's amazing. He lived up to that name.
Chuck Hansen is the son.
Yeah. I wish we saw the other scientist more, the one who he seemed to be Hispanic, perhaps? He was basically cosplaying as 11, literally the 11th Doctor.
Oh, my God. Right, he had the bow tie. Jesus Christ.
No, he had the bow tie, he had the suit, he had suspenders. Dude, the 10th Doctor debuted in 2010. So he would have been on the air for like a year or two when they started even filming this.
Oh, my God.
And they even got one of the scientists, or I think it was scientists, but from Torchwood. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people working on this who watch Doctor Who.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised either. Yeah, he was head of mission control, basically. Yeah,
I think he was Hispanic. He looked Hispanic.
Is Clifton Collins Jr.?
He looked vaguely Hispanic.
Trying to look.
Yeah. But yeah, so just talking about by the way, I love how the monster at the end. So apparently the reason why Del Toro was working for this movie.
Yes.
Right. The reason why Del Toro was working for this movie was because he was working on a movie for I think it was I forgot it was Universal, but basically he was working on a movie with them, right, the company that ended up picking up this movie. And he was saying, "Hey, like I want to work on Pacific Rim." Legendary, thank you. He's like, "Hey, I'm working on," because he was working on something Lovecraftian, and he was like, "The only way that I'll work on Pacific Rim more closely is if this movie gets canceled." And basically, it's funny. Del Toro was like, "Yo, guys, I have a $150 million budget for this Lovecraft movie. I'm not going down any lower than that." And they were like, "We're canceling this." And he was like, "What?" And so he was really sad about it being canceled, but then he actually got to work a lot closer with Pacific Rim, and he even said, he said, I would not deny that some of the designs that I had for the monsters in the movie that I was going to make, that they didn't show up in Pacific Rim. And I got to be honest, that tentacle monster at the end, I was like, dude, that is completely Lovecraftian. Like, come the fuck on.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Straight out of Lovecraft. When it came out, I was like, hello, Cthulhu. How's it hanging, buddy? Straight up looked like
aliens.
Cthulhu.
The aliens are just a cult of Cthulhu.
Right?
Oh,
I mean,
shit.
well, does that mean that the people in Hong Kong that went into that church, they're just a cult of Cthulhu?
Oh, no. Oh, God. Well.
Yeah, right? I love, by the way, the movie came out July 12th, 2013 in the United States. In Mexico City, it came out July 1st. And I'm just like, thanks, Guillermo.
Well.
Like, what, did you show it to some family members so they legally count it as coming out in Mexico City? Thanks, Guillermo.
Oh, my God.
I love that guy. Apparently, his hometown was celebrating when he won the Oscar. Did I sent you that video? He was on Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, right, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, apparently the budget for the movie was $190 million. It made $411 million, but sadly, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a small, tiny, controlled rant here because we're running out of time. I hate how Hollywood has this mentality of like, look, we know that it made more than your budget, but it didn't make twice
double.
or 3 times as much.
Right. Yeah.
And technically it did make double at the end of the day, but the problem is that I don't know if this box office number here is calculating the world box office number, because obviously because obviously, yes, if it's U.S. based, then that's good because it's double 190. But what ends up happening is that obviously, in movie theaters throughout the U.S., they take a little bit of a cut, so you do have to think about that. So I don't know if the numbers, the end numbers, always take into account the fact that this movie was in movie theaters, right, or on demand, or any service that allows someone to take a little bit of a cut before Warner Brothers or Legendary gets some of that profit, right? But when you look at overseas, so when you say, oh, hey, this movie made like $1 billion and most of it was overseas, it actually means less than you think, because overseas licensing costs and things like that end up bringing the number down. So in other words, this movie made a lot of money, and I mean a fuck ton, in China. But the U.S. isn't getting all of that revenue. They're getting a chunk of it, but they're not getting as much as if they would get if the movie did well in America.
Yeah.
And I would argue, so that's why I would argue that, and also probably trying to keep Guillermo del Toro on the project or attached to it for a while, I feel like those are the 2 reasons why it took this long to get another movie. I know we would think the CG, but I mean, even though Star Wars doesn't have giant mechs, look at how many Star Wars movies they're able to make per year.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it's 1 per year, but still, dude, that's a lot of CG going into that.
True.
I mean, hell, we heard some recent problems with Solo where we were like, wait, is this directorless? And then all of a sudden, snap your fingers, and you're like, no, we're good. Keep the train going. It's coming out in November. And we're like, oh, shit. All right.
Right.
Like, so, if they thought there was a lot of money from Pacific Rim, we would have had one in 2 years, tops.
Mm.
But literally, it's 2018, dude. It's been 5 years since this first one. Ooh. But anyway, were you going to say something else before I prattle on?
Yeah, like, I'm happy we're finally getting our second installment.
Yeah, same.
I'm hopeful, because I want it to be at least as good as this one, but I really love this movie, so it might be hard to, for me at least, it might be hard to top.
I think if it focuses on the characters, it'll be better for me, but if it doesn't, then it'll be the same, maybe worse, yes. Because even though I love... they have
the amount of polish in these fights. Like they even talk about like all the gears and pistons that you see moving within the machines. They even looked at like giant machinery that we have like in our world and just tried to like base it off of that. And the rest, I mean, they had to, for the scale, I mean, they kind of had to move on with the imagination of how each of these parts work, but it still has humanistic like motions and movement. It's just everything that went into this was so. I love the color schemes, like the amount of they tried to make everything have this like rustic look to it, like especially in the Shatter Dome.
Yes.
Everything that went into the sets. It's a lot of stuff in the special features, but just I hadn't thought of it all before, but thinking of it now, it's just there's a lot of passion that went into this film that I think is kind of lost on some people, you know?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, thanks for calling me out, Dick. I'm kidding. You know that I love this. But
okay.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I know who you're referring to because a lot of people shat on this movie when it first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm only talking about it from, like, because believe me, if there were no human characters or very little and they only focused on a few more, which I'm not saying you should do that when you focus, you know, you're saying the entire world is coming together. That's a problem, too. But, because then I'd be saying, why don't you show more of the world if it was only focused on the main character and Mako, right? But my point is that if you removed all the characters and it was only just robots versus, you know, kaiju, fuck yeah, I would be, you know, because obviously, yes, you're not wrong in what you're saying, but it's not only about robots, it's the human element that I think in some ways was lost, which you do agree with, but in some ways was lost. But what I will say, though, is thankfully like I said much earlier, the actors really, with what they brought to it, really saved this movie for me being like, the only thing that's good about it are the giant monster fights, which are really, really good. Like, it's a lot more than that because of what they brought to it, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah.
Although,
to reiterate, the fights are freaking amazing.
They really are. Do you think the main character should have died? Not that we want them to die, but do you think it was believable that, first off, do you think it's believable that they got through an alien rift with non-alien tech? Like, these aliens are so advanced that they get to plant themselves in their, you know, on their Earth, have a dimensional rift through it, but apparently the rift, it can't sense that they're non-terrestrial just because they're holding on to a terrestrial being.
Well, I mean, that was it would open for the kaiju, so them holding on to the kaiju, the gate is opening for it, and I guess they never really... I mean, that would feel the aliens like they never expected them to be like... I get the feeling they never expected us to figure that out.
I guess. It's just like
or even attempt to try to follow them back through it because it was at the bottom of the ocean even.
All right. It's just one of those things where you would think that when beings are smarter than us, it's just also, by the way, so they got all of the memories, but they don't actually, like, they can't actually see through him, can they? Because, like, you would think that once they were like, oh, let's do this, the aliens would be like, well, now we know their new plan, which seems like they didn't know.
Right.
No, because it just felt like, I don't know, like it was just too much.
I mean,
like
I guess
too easy,
for
rather.
me, it'll always be,
yeah.
Overconfidence will always be a glaring weakness.
In
no
humans,
matter how. Well,
but in aliens?
Well, because it still seems like they have at least a similar human instinct to, like, take over for. I'm assuming they would be taking Earth for resources. So.
That is
I mean,
true.
they're the ones
You're right.
trying to take over our planet, so it's like,
all right.
I don't see why they couldn't have other feelings or ideas that would be similar to ours.
You know what? That's a good point, and that's what we'll end the show on. Human feelings of greed. Anyway.
Oh my
God. No, just
there was one.
We thank you all.
Yeah, the music is amazing too. Just quick to
note. That's another thing we got to mention. The music's beautiful. So thank you all so much for listening in. Take care, and Tristan, say goodnight to everybody.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Canceling the apocalypse.
Right now with the podcast.